Good evening and welcome. Uh, my name is Promise Odera Onu. Today we want to discuss a hot topic, subsidy. So please, I would like you to join, share your thoughts. We just had Bongali under the Freeze's live discuss what he thought is or what his opinions are on the topic. I've already discussed this in passing in different topics, but I want to discuss it now, and I'm going to have one of my friends join me to discuss this. We're all in the comment section on that live trying to analyze it. So yeah, APC government have, well, to be fair, Buhari is the one that removed subsidy, not in his tenure, but he removed it. Hi Tolu, just send me a request. He removed it for Tinubu, so he removed it starting from July. So technically, subsidy have been removed, but Tinubu made some error. On his inauguration, he decided to sort of speak about it or re-emphasize it, and that caused panic in the country. So he's now having to deal with the after effect of that announcement or pronouncement he made on his inauguration, because he's not the one that removed subsidy. It was not even included in the 2023 budget. But because he's the number one citizen and whatever he says is the president of Nigeria currently, there are reactions, even forex traders and everything anticipate events based on the news. Hi Tolu, good to have you.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's a very serious moment in Nigerian politics, and
yeah, I don't know if you managed to join the Freeze live.
I couldn't because I was in the office.
Okay.
I had a lot to do, so I couldn't really join.
Okay, I mean that there's somebody called Bongoli. He's an APC supporter, one of our co-debaters or supporters group for APC that was debating us when we are supporting Peter Obi. So he was analyzing it the best way he can. John was in the comments, I was in the comments. John is still analyzing it in another live with somebody. So it's a hot topic, I agree.
Yeah.
So first thing first, from the comment section, I realized that people said a lot of countries still, pay subsidy for their products. Some people say Obogali said is in different tiers. That is upstream, midstream, and downstream. And America subsidizes the production, which is the upstream. So what do you think? Let's first of all get your view overall in terms of, I tried to state the fact that it wasn't Tinubu that removed subsidy, by the way. It was Buhari. It's not even in our 2023 budget. And it's meant to start from July. So Buhari removed it for Tinubu, if that makes sense.
I think there's a bit of, I'll say a bit of misinformation flying around about subsidy. Okay. In the 2022 appropriation bill, subsidy was provided for in that bill. Okay. And yes, you are very, very correct that Buhari intended to remove it. And almost few days to his departure from the office, he planned to remove it, but he did not remove it. Buhari cannot.
It is not in the 2023 budget.
No, 2022. No, not 23. 22 appropriation bill. Remember,
which ends in March.
Which ends in March. But
Yes, but he's president till May, which cuts across April.
but the subsidy, which is about I think 26 trillion. I can't remember the figure right now. It still runs to the 31st of May. Is it? Sorry, 31st of is it June? I think June. Still June. Okay, so technically speaking, and I think I agree with Barrister Okonkwo, who said there's about 30 days left.
Yes, that's correct.
In that disbursal, the disposal of that money, if you divide it into 12, there's still about 1 month left in that allocation. So where is the money going to? 2, why did the president pronounce that information, gave that information at this material time? If you know the principles of demand and supply, like Okonkwo said, you should have saturated the environment, the society with enough fuel before you even make that pronouncement, number one. But let me take it a bit, let me stretch it a little bit further. If Mr. President did not make that pronouncement and saturates the country with enough crude oil, that will still be more or less a kind of short-term plan, because at the long term we will still have a problem. So what it could have done was to increase the worker salaries across the federal and the state level, so that there will be enough money in the hands of the people. And I'm coming. I know you will talk about inflation, but give me a minute and I will explain. Then saturate the economy with crude oil. Let Dangote refinery start operating.
That is where this is the point you've made now is what I was preferring when I was discussing the subsidy.
65,000 barrels, 35,000 barrels per day. That is it.
Yes.
That is massive.
There is nothing that we could do with subsidy without Dangote coming up as an alternative. Without Dangote being on stream, if you take out subsidy, whether it's P2B or Tinubu or Buhari, is going to be a problem.
The question now is, why
I want to ask you a question on that caveat. Yeah?
Yeah.
Who do you think is Dangote's market or customers? Is it local or international?
It's both.
And you're talking about the 650,000 barrels. Remember, they said Nigerians use more than 2 million barrels a day.
Now, but this is the problem. Let me explain. This is the problem. They said Nigeria uses 2 million barrels a day, but I don't believe that's the real figure. I believe that figure was inflated.
If you have the figure, even if you say it's 1 million a day.
But my problem, though, let's leave Dangote for now. Let's focus on the timing of the announcement. You see,
he shouldn't even make an announcement. Buhari has already done this. They don't deal. You shouldn't even mention it at all. Because Forex and everything works on news. Immediately, and that is the singular day everybody is paying attention. There is an inauguration. And you choose that day of all days to reiterate the same statement or emphasize it. Now you are sending waves of shock or shock waves down the market. Everybody is going to feel like, okay, this is really going to happen. Because there was some discussions whether it should be extended and, So now he coming to say it on that podium really did a lot of damage. As I'm talking to you now, in my village, they sell fuel 600 naira per liter. Fuel used to be sold at 145 naira. At the matter of fact, NNPC used to sell fuel cheaper than. Do you know that there's somewhere in Lagos where NNPC opened their gates? Cars were in queue, they couldn't enter because the fuel price was above 500 naira. This is happening to Nigeria because our president, who is incoming, is so insensitive to the plight of the people. Now, I don't want to get into whether subsidy is good or bad, but at the end of the day, how do you go about it? Dangote is not even on stream. And Dangote is supposed to be an alternative. And it's not even on stream yet. So if we have 1 month, let's say that 1 month since Dangote have been commissioned is when you expect Dangote to come on stream. So now people are still relying on imported fuel, and you're telling them that there's not going to be any subsidy. What do you expect the marketers to do?
See, that is just one of our problems. There's a ripple effect of this pronouncement, and I feel sad as a Nigerian. Okay, there's a ripple effect. According to Office of National Statistics in the UK, the current UK CPI is 10.1%. Nigeria CPI
being
Consumer Price Index.
Okay.
I'll explain that for a minute. According to the Office of Budget and Planning in Nigeria, our current CPI as of 2023 first quarter, which is April, is 22.2%. That's 12% more than the UK. Now, we are the 6th or 7th largest exporter of crude oil in the world. The UK is even far behind, and the UK is even struggling as it is, economically speaking.
Of course.
Now,
struggling.
For people that don't understand what CPI means Consumer Price Index. It's the amount of purchasing power in the pocket of every single consumer in Nigeria. So, if you have 1,000 naira at the moment, and you want to do make soup or rice and beans or whatever, are you able to buy rice and beans and pepper with 1,000 naira? The answer is no. So you might have to forgo either beans and buy rice and pepper, or either pepper and forget rice. That is the basic explanation of what is called Consumer Price Index, is to measure your purchasing power. All right. In the UK, we are struggling at 10.1%. Nigeria is currently struggling at 22%. Now, with this announcement, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sad to tell you that Nigeria CPI in the next 3 weeks will rise to 27.6%. Which means we will not be able to buy fuel, we will not be able to go out, we will not be able to buy food. There's a lot of things we will not be able to do.
I saw one video, I'm sorry to cut you in. I saw one video, one keke guy said at 500 naira, he cannot buy fuel to fuel his keke. How much is he going to charge people? And don't forget, if a gallon of fuel can only take you like half a day, regardless of how much you charge, it will still take you half a day.
Exactly.
And you still have to, pay for everything, your overhead and everything. So at the end of the day, either these people are so insensitive to the plight of Nigerians, or they are not thinking right. This is what I said yesterday, Tolu, and correct me if I'm wrong. Why the rich countries like America, the UK borrow, it's not because they cannot tax the people more and avoid the borrowing, but because they want to make sure that the hardship is not felt so much by the people, and that's why they have to borrow, right? So the point of subsidy is to make sure the effect on the people is not so much that they have to be in hardship. So in this case, where people have already gone into extreme hardship with the Naira redesign, extreme hardship with all whatnot that have been happening with fuel scarcity. Remember that there was bad fuel that was circulated all over Nigeria. They have to recover everything back, and that one caused a lot of havoc in Nigeria. Now, with all of that, plus the election, right? It's like, what else do you want people to do? It's like they are pushing people to just go into anarchy or apathy, because at the end of the day, there is no welfare facility, there is no consideration, no palliative. The 800 million, I think, has been given to them. I don't know how that is being shared. And, with this new government coming in and making matters worse, I don't know what exactly is going to be the feedback from the people, or how people are going to take this in. But clearly people cannot do their business. Because Nigeria, we don't have alternative power. Yes, you probably can have solar at home, depending on how much inverter or battery power you can buy. But then our reliance on fuel is for transportation majorly, right? And of course, to sort of power our houses. So if people cannot transport, they cannot do their business. So it becomes a very big challenge. So, I mean, justifying anything, some people don't care to listen to the news. And again, as a government, you have to always look at the people at the lowest level, the poor people, the masses. In any policy making, you cannot base off your consideration to the rich people or to the middle class or to the marketers or to NOPENG or TUC. These are not the people you should be considering. You should consider the people who are the end users, the poor masses who do not have, who are living below poverty line. We're already the poverty capital of the world, over 135 million. I mean, Nigerian government, I don't know how much they want to push the people. How insensitive can you be? I mean, what else do you want these people to do before you understand the pain? Is it until they resort to arms? Do you have enough police to sort of, hold them back and make sure you restore law and order? So I think it's very critical we consider these things. There's no alternative transportation without petrol. No. Electric cars are not in Nigeria. There's no alternative. You can't say you can cycle in the city. It's not there. I mean, in the UK here, we have bicycles, we have Uber bicycles, we have Boris bicycles, we have so many we have scooters. People use scooters.
Let me ask a question quickly, and I want people back at home watching this to probably respond. Do you think that the government does not understand the effect of the announcement? You think they're just stupid? You think the government just wake up one day and announce and then throw everybody into a kind of pandemonium, throw the whole country into pandemonium and disruption? You think the government is not aware of their game?
To what end?
That is the question. To what end? Okay. Now we can analyze however we want. We can start going back and forth, analyzing.
Okay, so let me put this question this way.
But I think they understand perfectly what they are doing. And if my guess is right, my guess is right, what they are trying to do is to distract Nigerians. Go and look at 2012 when Jonathan became president. This is exactly what happened. Go and look at 2015 when Buhari became president. This is exactly what happened. 2019 was a bit different because in 2019, Buhari was simply going for second term. So there was no issue. But 2012, 2015, and today, the same thing happened. Subsidy. And let me tell you something. If I was Mr. President, I will not remove the subsidy at the moment. And I'll tell you why. Without the subsidy, Nigeria has the lowest pump price in West Africa. Okay? Let's check. You can go and verify. Lowest pump price at 197 naira per liter across West Africa. Number one. Number two, Nigeria has the highest number of consumers of crude oil in West Africa. What does that tell you? It tells you that the production of crude oil is high because we have to take it outside Nigeria to go and reproduce and bring it back to Nigeria. So if the government does not subsidize as it is, then we are in trouble. Now, the government is now saying that some people within the government are stealing the money. So government is accusing government The government stands to accuse government that some people somewhere are stealing the money in government, okay? Not outside government, inside government. So, to curb that corruption, the government have decided to withdraw the subsidy from government so that people that are benefiting from the subsidy will suffer. What sense does that make?
So I've been asking, I mean, the whole point of me creating this page was
two
things. I've told myself two things. It's either the government don't know what to do, or they clearly know what to do, but they choose to do the evil thing. Now, your question is very thought-provoking, and it has crossed my mind a lot of times. Why this announcement? When Tinubu was saying what he was saying, how did he expect people to receive it? Oh, he wants people to receive it that is a good thing because they said subsidy is a bad or is corrupt way of, or is how do they call it? It's fraud. Maybe he's expecting people to receive that like that way. But clearly, if that is not the case, I will tell you something. When Goodluck Jonathan said he was going to remove subsidy and Occupy Nigeria protest, was going on across Nigeria. AY said something, comedian AY. He wrote it on his Facebook. He said that he does not believe that every single Nigerian president is bad. That these are well-meaning Nigerians, but there is something about that presidential seat that corrupts. And that's why they say absolute power corrupt, power corrupt and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now the point here is, and this is purely my opinion, guys, don't quote me. Nigerian oil is not being drilled by Nigerian company. It's drilled by multinationals, the Shells, the BPs, name them. Nigerian oil, as we speak today, is being refined in Belgium, if I'm correct. I stand corrected. So when you come in as president and you want to wield your power.
Let me add to your information. I used to work with a top law firm called Wilmer Hill. Yeah, Wilmer Hill. It's a top global law firm. You can find out. And I'm privileged to access some classified information about how Nigerian oil is being produced. As a matter of fact, my law firm then was working on, I can say that because I don't work with them anymore, okay? My law firm then was working with some top lawyers in Nigeria. And there's a case about the downstream oil sector, fraudulent movement of crude, involving a oil firm called Glencore. Check it, Glencore. Glencore is partly owned by the Belgian government. Okay, I'm just trying to confirm the fact that our oil is being produced in three places of fuel. Three places: Belgium, Netherlands, and Russia. Three. Russia, Moscow, Belgium, and Netherlands. I know the Belgium for a fact. That's why I mentioned it to you. And so the issue of oil subsidy as it is today is a corruption. Okonkwo said we walked into it recklessly. And we have to walk out of it carefully.
Now, let me say something. Buhari in 2015 or prior to 2015 said it himself, the video, I watched it today, that subsidy is fraud, that you get fuel, you drill it, you put it in this thing, you refine it, and they said to the people that there is nowhere that they pay subsidy. And that is the truth.
One more thing I want to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Subsidy means maybe people don't understand what subsidy is. Let me explain what subsidy is in a normal term. It means that you produce fufu. Let's go local now. You produce fufu for 500 naira. The cost of production is 500 naira. Our average man on the street of Lagos cannot afford to buy one fufu for 500 naira. It's not possible, my brother. So what do? They beg the government. Government, please help us. People cannot buy fufu and they are hungry. Our production cost is 490 naira. How much can we make? If we're selling it for 200 naira, we are running at loss. Government said, guys, calm down. We will give you 250 naira of the production cost. So that at least you make some money from us. So when they sell fufu in Lagos for 200 naira per one, and the cost of production is 490 naira, who foots the bill? The government foots the bill, which makes the rest of the people, the producers, make extra profit. Okay. Now, what will happen?
No, hold on to that explanation. Now, what you just explained is what they want us to believe, is the theory. But then these are things that P2B, Buhari in 2015 or prior to 2015, that Tinubu, all of them have, everybody have hands up said is fraud. Now, let me explain to you how it's fraud. You remember I was telling you, I've asked somebody that is an oil company worker in Nigeria. He told me how everything works. The major people that own the oil rigs are multinationals. The Shells, the BPs, and everything. You dare not come close. Forget all these Nigerian militant and everything. You dare not come close to their facilities. Heavily guarded by the American and British soldiers. That's one. Right? They drill the oil. The oil gets passed through pipe, of course, to the flow stations. Everybody even those that own small rigs like Ates and the rest that own small oil wells, what they call oil wells, because you drill oil onshore, which is on water, and then offshore, which is on land. They pass all those pipes to the flow. So Nigeria have one flow station controlled by Nigerian Navy. This is why when they talk about oil theft, you cannot steal Nigerian oil without the knowledge of the Navy. So Shell will drill, BP will drill, other Nigerian companies will drill. Everything flows to the station called flow station centrally. That flow station we gauge. So Shell will produce, like, say, for example, 500 whatever cubic meters or whatever they call their measurement distance scale. Then BP will say they produce 1,000. Other small rigs we say they produce 550. Now, as much as you produce and you transport and it ends up in that flow station, Nigeria has an agreement that you will give them a percentage of that because the crude is a Nigerian resource. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then, when it comes into that flow station, from that flow station, they will now put it into the carrier, either their ship or their whatever they are going to use to transport it. They put it in the vessel from that flow station, and everything is metered and gauged. Now, from that flow station, of course, somewhere in Delta State, that's where you sail to your country. As you are in Nigerian waters, it is heavily guarded and monitored by Nigerian Navy. So when people like Tompolo said that they found some vessels carrying Nigerian oil that they set ablaze, it is coming from somewhere. Now, the small creeks and small illegal bunkerings going on can go on between the place where it is being drilled and going to that flow station, which is crude. When it is now being refined, it comes into Nigerian ports and, of course, docks in, and then Nigeria pays for it. But this is it there. You can easily go into agreement with Shell and say, don't pay us any money, don't pay us any percentage. The fuel you are going to take from it, give us the one that is already distilled or the one that you've already refined and sell it back to us. and then do that calculation that way. That way, no money is changing hands. But because, number one, there's no transparency of the whole process, there is allegation that Nigeria is drilling more than 6 million. And they are declaring that Nigeria is drilling just below 1 million, or sometimes they will say it's 1 point, below 2 million. There is also corruption in terms of bunkering, because you don't just go and bunker. So those pipes, they are moving in very high PSI, which is the force they pump that fuel to those flow stations. So if you go there and bust the pipe, it will kill you. So for them to do that, somebody has to turn the valve this way, for the pipe to be empty, for them to drill and fix their own pipe, then turn it on for them to be able to do what they are doing. So it's a high-end robbery that involves the government. So this is what these people that come to do politics is doing for us. When politicians come and do brouhaha and say they are doing oil thefts and whatever, they just transfer ownership of all those schemes. They don't change it, they don't stop it. They just transfer ownership. Are you getting me? Now, when they transfer ownership, like all this subsidy, everybody knows it's a scam, it's fraud. There is nothing like subsidy.
No, I want you to tell me. So you see, I'm arguing based on facts, on evidence. I don't want to hear what Obi, Buhari, and the rest are saying based on theory. I want the facts, and the fact I know from what we have seen so far is that every single time they threaten to remove subsidy, or they pause subsidy, or they stop subsidy, what happens? There's an increase in price. It's just automatic. It's almost automatic. Okay, let's test run this, everybody. Let's look at what happens in the next 3 weeks. Let's test run this. If the price of fuel goes up,
I have one question for you, Tolu, for you to answer your own question. Before our refineries stopped working, at least there was a time one was working. Was there a subsidy?
When one was working, I think there was subsidy. Yes.
That is your answer.
Yes.
So it is not the extra logistic cost of buying back, because people think this is importation. When government is doing business, it's different from hold on to your thought. Okay. When government is doing business, it's different from when you and I are doing business. When you and I are doing business, you land your container, you have to clear, you have to pay custom, you have to pay tax, you have to pay all of that. When government is doing business, government doesn't have to pay nothing. So if they refine oil ship can come and dock free, transport free and everything. It's government. But what I'm trying to make you understand is that extra logistics cost that they claim that they are subsidizing has always been there, even when we have refineries. They call it cost of production is high, like you explained earlier. But I'm trying to make you understand that these are all book theories. In practice, Nigerian crude in millions of barrels at 100 naira, let's just say at 30 naira. Let's go lowest at 20 naira. 20 naira times 1 million a day is 20 million.
The only way.
365. Hold on. Press punch calculator. Let's just say they are doing 1 million. The one they declared 1 million is 20 million daily times 365. There is no single day they are not draining oil from Nigeria. Now, if that is 20 million coming in, they are telling us that they are subsidizing that money with how much? Trillions. But make we tell ourselves the truth. There are two guys that were fighting online, the head of the TUC and NUPEG. He was fighting online yesterday, the day before yesterday on channels with SDPDC. People know the truth. How many people have come on TV to say categorically that it's government that are sponsoring these things and all this bunkering is them doing it? Subsidy alike. Do you understand? If I ask you now, what's Abacha's loot that was recovered? What was it used for? Do you know?
No,
that is the simple answer. So what these guys do is just rewrite the contract with the new names and continue the stealing. So when they say they are stopping subsidy, and before you know it now, they will say, it's too harsh, they reinstate it again. They've already resigned the contract. See, the multinationals are there to do business, right? The people that drilled oil and found oil in Nigeria, they have to be paid, and I think they've been paid. Now, people who are doing this business of taking this oil, they are doing their business. What your government decides to do with it is your problem. But let's face it, other countries in the world use fuel. Nigerians, a study has shown, are selling our fuel on black market to other neighboring African countries, more than they are selling to Nigeria. So people are busy making money from this when the purpose was supposed to be. Do you know that last year NNPC could not, you know that money that governors go to Abuja to share, NNPC could not pay any state any money for months. That's why Buhari woke up one day and made NNPC a limited company. Do you understand? So these people know what they are doing. Now that Tinubu has gone into power, he thought he can flex his muscle. No Peng will call him. TUC will call him and tell him, Baba, no, that's not how it works. Then you have to deal with these people. So all I'm trying to say in essence is, for government to do anything, there is, there must be consideration for the poorest citizens. Because there is no way we can be taking from the poor constantly to feed the rich. Those marketers, those people that own petrol stations, those are the people at the top end. We are not supposed to be making more money for these people.
Let me ask you one question. And I want you to answer me honestly. And if you don't know, just tell me you don't know. Why do you think that we have increase in price when subsidy removal is threatened or removed or paused? Why do you think that's the case?
Because I just told you, Nupeng, the people that market the oil, the people that own the fleet station, all of those people, they have a union, right? So now when you say you are removing the money that you are sharing with them, right? They also have to get that money from somewhere, because now listen to this. If I have a petrol station, you sell fuel to me, because now you're not considering me, apart from NNPC fleet station, you're not considering me as an owner of the Commonwealth. You are selling me a particular amount for that fuel, right? So if I have to get all the money from the cost I've spent to buy the fuel from you, then I have to make that money somewhere. But this is where I am now. You understand that part, Abi? Now this is where I'm coming to. If you as a government say, after all, our crude, take this oil, say for example, for free this month, what do you think will happen?
What will happen is that nothing will...
I don't want you to mention cost of production though. Okay. Do you know why I don't want you to mention cost of production? Why? If you go back to how it is being drilled, Nigeria, they sit down. Nigeria is like this. Nigeria like this, they sit down. Companies will get all those rigs, go pull oil, go put for their flow station, give them their quota. So even if you say, okay, you see that one, where did they give us? Where will they go refine, bring back? Tell them, say, okay, how many can you refine and give us back? Even if it is not enough, let local refineries, all these things are based on policy. Let local refineries spring up, declare a state of emergency on it, and let these things flow into the market. Before you know what is happening, there will be more fuel, like you said, demand and supply. And then people who are selling to other African countries, check the borders, put custom to work. All these things are corruption on different levels.
I have a theory. We have 4 refineries in Nigeria
at
the moment. Forget Dangote. 4 since 1979. We've had 4 refineries. None of those 4 has ever worked to their maximum capacity. If 2 of them, forget the 4, if 2 of them just work maximum capacity, we don't need Dangote. In fact, we don't need subsidy.
Of course.
Now, I want to show you something. I want to show you something very critical here. Why do you think those refineries did not work? I'll tell you why I think it doesn't. I'll tell you why I think it didn't work. Dangote refinery has been a 20-year plan. In fact, they've been looking for who to bring that project on board since 1979, I'll say. The reason why they did not care was because the global oil price was favorable to Nigeria. Secondly, is that we were making money and we were very rich, a very rich country in the 80s. So there was no reason why they should be hurrying to look for who to set up that.
Yeah.
Abiola, we're already scouting around to look for who will front that deal. How did I know this? If you look at Abiola and you look at from 1992 downwards, let me ask you, who do you think was the chairman of what's it called? NNPC. 1992 to 1999, 1997.
No knowledge.
It was Buhari. It was Buhari in 1976 to 1979. It was Buhari from 1993 to 1997.
During Abacha as well, you mean?
Yes. You know why?
Yes, he was. Yeah. And that's when the Ghana must go money in the airport issue came up. So when people say Buhari is not corrupt, that's why people don't know the man's history.
That was why they called him in 1999 to come and testify in the Puta panel, and he refused to come. So there is a company called Afri Project Consortium, APC. Project Consortium. It was owned by Baba Daura, Buhari's in-law, and one of his brother. They started Afri Project Consortium, and they are the ones that actually collect the deals, the contracts. Now, I'm just showing you the trajectory from where we are coming from to where we are today. So the reason why the 4 refineries do not work was because they were looking for a way to privatize the downstream sector once and for all.
Of course, we do that. It's clear knowledge.
When Dangote came on board, they knew that this was the breaking point, and they gave Dangote the full support. Now, look at what Dangote has created in Lagos. That's a massive energy enterprise in Lagos that can feed the whole nation and the whole West Africa as it is. Now, what is the implication of that for our 4 refineries? Now, the implication is that our refineries will never work again. That is the end of it. That is the end of our refineries.
Privatization. And look at what this guy said. Otodola said that he requested, well, him and Dangote bought Port Harcourt and Warri refineries back in, so many years back. And then, I don't know which government he was referring to, but he said the president came on, maybe it's good luck, I'm not sure, came on and reversed that transaction. And now he's boasting that, they've done it from ground zero up. Now, the point is, like you clearly said, I said in one of my videos.
Finally, let me just drive home my point. Finally, the issue of subsidy, like I said, the issue of subsidy has been tied to Nigerian economy. So we won't be having this conversation if our 4 refineries were working. The issue of subsidy will not even come up at all. So forget about subsidy or somebody stealing money somewhere. It won't even come up anyway.
But let us understand. Let us understand this thing. I will go back to your analogy with Fufu, but before I go there, let me finish up what Otodola was saying. Otodola went on to say that is why we should know that governments cannot run businesses. Hey, I say, God, where does this man get this information from? Me and you and the UK, how many businesses are run by government effectively? Railway is there, postal service is there, everything is run by government here, at least from the production stage. And then when it comes to the mid to the end user, they probably will allow privatization or private companies. They will outsource it.
Yeah.
But the main infrastructure has to be protected and run by the government.
That's right.
Let me go down to your analogy. I am a farmer. Now me plant cassava. Now me harvest cassava. The only thing why I don't get now the machine to grind cassava. We go turn them to Gary. Abi?
Yeah.
Now you get the plant. You can't charge me to carry my cassava, give you. Come say I go pay you more money to feed my children. Now we dey talk now, Abi. Now wetin me go do? Now make I make sure say I get that machine. Because the cassava is coming at no cost to me. Then when I grind it, now my food, now me go come now sell you. Because not only am I paying you for the cassava or the garri wey you give me, you are also collecting my cassava. And the problem is that there are two levels. We not have even farm to collect the cassava. We not even get machine. Now, for the space of how many years this democracy have run in Nigeria, we've not even produced people that have the technical know-how to operate our refineries. We still don't have the machine. So even this beautiful edifice that Buhari built, of course, is being owned or built by the Indians. So I don't know who are going to work there, but if it's the same people that worked in our foreign refineries, I can promise you they will run Dangote this thing down. And this is my second thought on this Dangote issue. Obasanjo gave Dangote monopoly of cement. Cement used to be 850.
One, it's not over yet. Keep counting.
Salt.
2.
Sugar.
3.
Flour.
4.
Which other one? Spaghetti.
And oil. The fifth one is oil.
Now, if you go to buy cement now, cement sells at 4,500 naira. It went as high as 5,000.
Yeah.
So this is why I asked you that important question: is Dangote's market international or local? Because Dangote has refineries outside Nigeria.
And the reason why I said it's both is because
Obasanjo closed the better cement, yes.
Whether you like it or not, whether you remove subsidy or you don't remove subsidy, Dangote must sell market to Nigerians. Dangote refinery is the hand of Shell, Chevron, and the rest in Nigeria.
No, you are missing the point. You are missing the point. Now let's go back.
Okay.
When you brought up the issue of Dangote, remember I told you that's my point. But I quickly also interjected by saying that Dangote capacity is only but 650 when stretched to the maximum. Of course, you know it's not going to be stretched to the maximum. That's why NNPC said they will start by giving him only 300,000 barrels.
Correct.
Now, when you give him only 300,000 barrels, 300,000 barrels, maybe he will probably survive maybe Lagos and outside Lagos. So when you're talking about the whole Nigeria, of course not now, maybe in the future. So we'll still probably reduce what we buy, but we'll have to still be buying. But the point I'm trying to make here is that the whole subsidy is a sham, because even before we started buying petrol or diesel or refined products from Belgium, right, we used to also pay subsidy to NNPC when they were drilling here before they ran the whole thing down. Now the good question is, in 8 years, for those who are attributing down with the refinery to Buhari as an accomplishment in his administration, why couldn't he in 8 years fix an already existing refinery? As I'm talking to you, they said they are still repairing Warri and Port Harcourt. They couldn't achieve that, but Dangote built his own from ground zero up in 6 years. Now, the Kano said that when Dangote will come on stream, that they are going to have fuel scarcity and dollar scarcity, and that's exactly what is happening. They are all setting the pace so that Dangote will come on stream and will be welcomed by Nigeria as a welcome development. But this is the problem. just like what they did with cement, the money is not going to be what Nigerians can pay. It is going to be as high as they like because it is now a profit-making venture. Government businesses are not made to make profit.
Exactly what I was telling you before, my brother. I said, Dangote is the face of politicians in Nigeria. Dangote is the spearhead. Listen, you may be asking me for evidence, but I don't want to be showing evidence because this is a live show. But I am privileged to have worked with some certain people in my field, and I've been able to see some classified information. And I can tell you that people like Ogunlesi, the guy that owns Gatwick and the rest of them, people like Aden,
Bayo
Ogunlesi, and Adenuga, Dangote, and the rest of those guys. They are the face. They are not the owner of the wealth. Real owners of the wealth are those that you don't know. Obasanjo was in a program talking with Christian Amanpour, I mean, 2014 or 2015. Go and check. And he said he made 33 billionaires during his time. Did you watch that? Did you watch that debate? He made 33 billion. I'm not saying millionaires, okay? I said billionaires.
Because that's how governments work. Governments use companies to work.
Open up in my field. I have a PhD in business and competition law, and one of my chapters was dealing with state aid and monopoly. My manuscript, my essay will be out in the British Library in the next 6 months or 5 months, so you can check. Anyway,
congratulations.
Anyway, in my thesis, I addressed the issue of state aid and the corrupt practices within the state aid. You know what happens? I told you something before. Government gives subsidy to government. I used it deliberately. I'm not stupid. Government A is the Tinubu government, okay?
Which is why Buhari was accusing Goodluck of subsidy, calling it fraud. But when he came on and the contract has been changed to him, it's like Abacha's youth coming back, changing name and going back again. See, this is understandable. Everybody understands that.
And one more thing is that, no, I want to explain the government versus government issue because people don't understand that point. Buhari became the Minister of Petroleum. You think he just became for nothing? He knew what he was doing. Let me tell you something. Government issues subsidy to government. What do I mean? Government A is Tinubu, Buhari, Goodluck government, okay? Government B is the state aid. What is state aid? State aid means the money you give to business enterprises to run their business, and they pay back interest 0.2% or 3%, or in fact 0% sometimes, just to help them. Okay.
Well, how did they facilitate that? Through the CBN.
It's through the CBN. So what happens is,
I heard they even gave Tinubu 3. And sorry, not Tinubu, Dangote, they gave him some, and they said, they said he's already paid almost, I think he's only owing about 2 billion. He has already paid about 80% of that money back.
So please don't forget, interest-free.
Interest-free, yeah.
Now look at it this way. We call it in academics, right? We call it state aid. Go and check what state aid means.
Yes.
So when you give, so subsidy is tied to state aid, ladies and gentlemen. So when you talk about subsidy, it is bigger than the way you are talking about it. It's way bigger than what you are saying.
Which is what if you are not, me and you are saying the exact same thing, but coming from different angles. This is why I said to you, that until you get in there, and of course you are sworn in as the president, and then you are privy to some information, some classified information, and they tell you, okay, this is how it works, this is how it works. Then you realize, oh, I can't take this thing out. Because not only is it going to affect the poor masses, which is what they use, that is not the problem.
Mary J Nation was saying that the United States has
147 refineries. I saw that. I just don't want to break our chain of discussion. Yes, I saw that.
And look at it this way. We have just 4.
And it's not working.
We have just 4, and not even one is working to capacity.
So look at this. This is how I have a problem with the West. This is why, you see, when the West keep calling China evil, I differ in my thoughts, and this is why. America has 147 refineries according to Mary J.
Yeah.
So they know how to build this thing. And America Shell said that Nigeria has bad oil, that our oil is bad. Recently, that the one we are draining now is bad. That's what they said. So if you guys know you can build this thing for us, you have 147, so it's not about knowing how or producing the equipment. Why do you have to allow Indians to help them, but they have one? This is what I'm coming. This is my problem. The West could have built refineries for us, knowing fully well that Africa is poor and Nigeria is poor. But no, they wouldn't do that. They rather give us aid, foreign aid, UK aid, cash, money, that they know these idiots will bring back into their system. But when China came, when China came, China said, I won't give you any money. You remember, they took this $800 million to China. China rejected it. China said, no. China said, I won't give you any money. I will build something for you.
Yeah.
And that's how Rotimi got them to come and build the railway. Yeah. That is China for you. China did the same thing in Ethiopia and some other countries. Yeah. Now, America is saying that China is in Africa. Yes, China is in Africa, but look at the system China is using. China has never colonized anyone. China said, instead of give these people money, they don't know how to be truthful to their people. Rather, we build infrastructures for them. Tell us what you want, we'll build it for you. China has companies in Nigeria, all over, building things. I prefer China style than the West. When you give foreign aid to people that are so corrupt like our politicians, they will bring the money back and buy yachts and flats and houses in your country.
Go and check.
Now we don't have refineries. Yet they are drilling oil in our backyard.
Go and check the duties of the Royal Niger Company in 1907. The Royal Niger Company is still working to today. The Royal Niger Company, the British Royal Niger Company in Nigeria. Nigeria is an enterprise. The British government and the American government, they understand Nigerian terrain properly. So they will not allow that to happen. Let me tell you something. If we want to solve the issue of oil today, long story short, forget about all these things we're talking about. Let's make sure our refineries, the 4 refineries we have, they are working to capacity plus Dangote refinery, and that will be the end of it. For subsidy will just disappear.
But this is the question. They will ask you, because what they want is that dependency on them. They will ask you, right? Does Nigeria know how to produce the parts that are needed to repair? If you come to buy from them, they will charge you so much money for it that when they tell you the cost of refining, you will say, okay, it's better for me to be actually buying.
That is why, let me tell you something. 2 things. The principle of complicity. Nigerian politicians are complicit. I'll give you an example. South Africa produce their oil on their soil. South Africa. Their own soil. They don't go to China and go. Inside South Africa, they produce their own oil. Now, this is my point. If you have a willing leader, an able leader, a leader that wants to do something,
sorry to cut you. Instagram is going to lock me out in 20 seconds. I will restart. Do you still have time?
Yeah, sure.
I will restart and we'll continue. Literally 15 seconds is going to log me out. I don't know why they've put me under this lock of maximum of 1 hour. So when
hello and welcome. Sorry, we're in the middle of that discussion before Instagram threw me out, so I'm going to wait for Tolu to come back and I'll bring him back. We're having quite an interesting conversation and hopefully we can get to the bottom of it. We're discussing subsidy. How did we get here? You are producing something, you have it in abundance. How is it that now you have to pay for that same thing that you have in abundance to come back to you? It doesn't make sense. So send me a request if you want to join live. Tolu, I'm waiting for your request, my brother.
He said you're not able to join. There you are. Yeah, go on.
Yes. So I said South Africa
their own oil
uses their oil on soil. If we want to solve the issue of subsidy, see, it's too complicated. I don't want to go into the niceties and the academics behind it. Okay, let's forget about what happened. Okay, they've stolen our money, fine, fair and square. Okay, going forwards, what do we do? What we have to do is to make sure that the refineries are working to maximum standard. Once we can produce, so you talked about the parts and everything like that. America and Britain will not want to help us. We go to China. We enter MOU with China. Hey, China, come here, come and build our refineries. We give you 25%. Let me give you the law. Under the Petroleum Act of 1979, okay? Whenever Nigerian government issues out oil exploration license or oil mining license or any kind of approval, the Nigerian government has 40% of the stake.
Yes.
That is the law, 40% of the stake. So if I bring China in, China, America and UK, they won't come, don't worry. China, Russia, come. I don't have money. Don't have money. Come and build refinery.
Even if you say, I won't sell you any more crude until you build a refinery for me.
Build. Listen, look at this. So build. Take 60% of the profit. Don't worry, just take 60% for the next 30 years. Build with your money, but employ my people as the servicemen on the ground. Bring me your experts. Within 30 years, train my people. After 30 years, give me back my infrastructure. I give you 60%.
And do you know what, Tolu? It is very sad to say this, that even one of the biggest projects that Buhari embarked on, which is that Ajakuta oil steel, iron steel, yeah, is now being owned by an Indian company.
Yeah.
And this is why, because Obasanjo took it to his hometown, is it Ajakuta or Abeokuta? And the place where the ore is far away. So transportation from there, and before you know it, because technologies keep evolving, now they said for them to even upgrade it now, it's going to cost a lot more. So the company that built it is charging, and this is why, you know Igbo now, if Igbo want to tear you build, they go tear you build. They don't send you, they don't look your face, they go come out. So there is no country that will come and be sympathetic and say to you, okay, we can build it for you cheap and blah, 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 blah. Even the money that Rotimi have wasted on building a railway, they look their face. I was reading today or yesterday that China is going to take over a country. I've forgotten the country actually, because of the contract they went into with China. So none of these countries are going to be kind to you. The reason why countries invest in other countries is to take your ownership and take your sovereignty, which Nigeria if care is not taken, we lose.
That is why we are
big mess. I mean, we're discussing it lightly, but we're in a very big mess, because this is why when I started talking, I have to go back to the beginning. Already we are not in charge of the upstream. All we're in charge of is that, all we're in charge of, our Navy is in charge of, is only that flow station that we gauge the meter, so everybody will know what they've drilled and how much they are taking. That's all. Once he leaves, we are not in charge of the upstream, we are not in charge of the midstream, or let's say we're in charge of the midstream gauging and whatever, and metering. Once he leaves the show, we're not in charge of the refining. And then when it comes back into the system, we say we're paying subsidy, which we know is lies, because it's the people. Is if you're a businessman and you have like a filling station, and you have probably your NIPCO, for example, you go to the government and say, I want to buy so and so barrels. So it's the money they get from these marketers that they pay and say they are paying subsidy. They're not paying nothing. The government will just take the money and put in their pocket, settle who they will settle, the organ that will sign it, and that is it. So at the end of the day, we have so much problems, that except we have a breed of very intelligent and patriotic leaders, that we have the willingness, the willpower to work collectively to help Nigeria. Nigeria is drowning steadily in a bigger mess. Something is a scam, we know that. And Nigeria need more refineries.
Do you know the worst thing about this? The fuel exploration in Nigeria is tied to Nigerian economy. Ask me how. It's tied to the currency, because that's the only thing that we export. That is what we use to back up our currency. That is why immediately Mr. President, as he is today, declared subsidy removal. Immediately at the same time did what? Devalued the currency.
But said it's not new. That is not true. They've debunked it.
Yeah, what do you mean by that? It's a lie.
But he debunked it.
Just yesterday.
The whole news everywhere that he debunked it. It's not true.
No. You know why I say it's a lie? Because it was in a meeting with Mr. President.
Yes, with other service chiefs.
If he did not devalue the currency, you know what will happen by now? We should be buying fuel at 1,000.
We get to it. Right. It will get to it. They're already sensitizing us.
Oh, no, we are getting there. No, we are getting there. No,
we are still going to buy definitely. And this is what people don't understand. This is what people don't understand. What America is dealing with you. America don't pity you. This people don't understand the Igbo people. Now we live in the system, Baba. They want Nigeria to be dollarized. You see, it breaks my heart. Honestly, it breaks my heart into pieces that Peter B is not sitting on that seat. Do you know what Peter B said? Peter B said that if he happens to see that you are using dollar in Nigeria, you will go into custody. So let me tell you this. There's one man, every time I see him on TV, everything he says is gospel. Mr. Falano, SAN, past that. This man said something. Two things he said. One I agree with, one I disagree with. He said that Nigeria should follow brisk. I disagree, at least not now. He also said that we should not be using dollar. I definitely agree. If Nigeria keep devaluing naira, see, all our celebrities now, they charge in dollars. If you want to call the video now, $5 million. The other day, Bitcoin, Billboard was saying it, to get him to sponsor his Billpoint app, $5 million for a year. If you want to pay Two-Face, all these people, they pay in dollars. In Lagos there, some places they charge in dollars. All of that is nonsense. It's not posh life. You are dollarizing your economy. You're making the dollar powerful. Peter B said, if he's the president, anybody will go into jail. if you are caught using dollar. Because the whole reason Peter Obi wants to be the president of Nigeria started from speaking to his professor that when he went to kill off. He said everything is based on one thing, your currency. If you have hope in that currency, it's like in Britain using the, what do you call it? Even Scotland use Scottish pounds. They have a reason for that.
They have their own pound.
So you have to make sure your money is that's what Forex is about. When you hear about Wall Street, you hear about Canary Wharf, what do you think they're doing? The Japanese money against the Chinese money, the Australian money against the New Zealand money. Nigeria is not there. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So we need to understand how powerful these things are, and these are simple policies that we expect the president to do. Ban use of dollar in Nigeria. Let everybody use the naira. When they came for Russia said, okay, pay me my money. They went to Finland. Russia played another chess game. He brought down their oil to 60. In fact, Japan went and said, almost $60 for a barrel, I will buy from you. That's how to do business. At the end of the day, economy is simple mathematics, demand and supply. Nigeria have consumption, which is not so bad. We just have to match it with production. That we have 200 million people in our system is good, but we have to produce enough for that 600 million. We have crude oil, it's our oil. Distilize this thing, refine it in Nigeria. Even if we don't have, what do you call it, proper refinery, the fuel we are buying from Belgium is the bad fuel. Allow local refineries to be operational. Make sure you protect our border so that we don't sell it in other African countries. Let the oil be sold in Nigeria. And you will see the economy will grow up. But corruption and, our security agencies are so useless. Because I don't know how Nigeria can be so porous that other neighboring countries can be doing anything they like, filtering in and going out as they like. It's bad.
Let me tell you what will happen to Nigeria as things are going right now. Quote me anyway, and I'm honest. What will happen to Nigeria in the next 5 years? See, first of all, when they say pray for Nigeria, I don't pray for Nigeria anymore. I've gotten to that stage because I realized that our prayer is not matched with practicalities. Many of us just pray hypocritical prayers. We are very, very hypocritical. We go to church, we fast and pray for Nigeria for nothing. At the end of the day, we are still involved in corruption. Now, what will happen to Nigeria is that Forex will become about 1,500 naira to a pound, or against the dollar, 1,200. Why did I say that? I told you before, I said our crude oil is connected to our currency. Our crude oil is connected to our currency. How did I say that? Every single country has something that backs their currency up. The UK, services and taxes. The US, oil and services. China, services. Please, what services do we render in Nigeria? What do we produce in Nigeria? Tell me.
Femi Adesina said oil has contributed less than 10% of the GDP in Buhari's government. That they now produce rice, they now produce cashew, they now produce blah, blah, blah. I don't know how much that has been of a benefit to us, but they posted about it.
Let me tell you something. The reason what we produce in Nigeria, let me tell you one thing that is helping Nigeria today. And that's
of course, yeah.
Remittances. Remittances from Nigerians in diaspora hit $3.3 trillion.
And that's how we get our forex. That's the only sort of the little forex we have.
Can you imagine? $0.3 trillion US remittance for Nigerians in diaspora. I'm very sure that Nigeria will have been
of course.
upside down by now.
Every day you see somebody is sick and they are donating money online. It's people abroad. It's because of the sheer number of Nigerians abroad that Nigeria has not collapsed completely. Because at the end of the day, if there's a building coming up or people building estates or building, it's always people abroad. How many people in Nigeria in that system can actually survive?
Now we're talking about 560.
Can you imagine that they traced the plane that they boasted is Nigerian Air and it has gone back to Ethiopia? The people that landed in Nigeria stayed for 3 days. You see, dumb, like proper dumb people are running things in Nigeria. Really dumb people are running their affairs, and the educated and intelligent ones are sitting behind because the dumb people unfortunately have the forces behind them. How on earth is a Tinubu a president of Nigeria?
You know what? Tinubu? No. Let me tell you something. With due respect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a man fit for the job. I did
younger. We know. Of course, even Peter Obi said it in Dele Momodu's house. He said if he was younger, Peter Obi used the math and said he doesn't have anything against Tinubu. If Tinubu was in his prime, he said even if he was Osibanjo, do you understand? But then you bring a man that is already, you can't fight nature.
The only thing now
FPT is in power now. Tinubu is in power. I'm waiting for them to do that magic. Buhari don't run go down. Let him perform that magic. Listen, he's already made a mess an arrival. Something that is supposed to go out 30 days after you took office. You've already brought it forward. Say something you're not supposed to say. Put money in the land. People are selling from 145 naira. That people were fighting to bring that to 85 naira during the Obasanjo time. Now, selling for 600 naira per liter. Minimum wage is 30,000. Divide 30,000 by 600 naira. That means
the UK.
Oh my goodness.
My brother, the UK, like I said before in your last live, the UK has 10.2% of CPI. Nigeria is currently,
and that's UK at its worst though. The worst interest rate is 4.5, which is recently. UK is in the highest inflation.
They are crying in the UK at the moment. They are crying. They are crying right now. Nigeria is currently having about 18% inflation and 22.2% CPI. What that means is that £1 in Nigeria, that is 900 naira, cannot feed anybody.
What can he buy?
You cannot buy anything.
A yam now is 2,500. What can he buy? One yam.
Now, this is what I want to tell you. We don't mind if people have the same salary threshold. So, for instance, if I'm earning like 200,000 naira as a level 8 officer, okay, I might not complain, okay, because I have the money coming up with me. But in doing that, Nigerian government must ensure that people get value for money. So what do I mean by that? If you are going to remove the subsidy, then increase worker salary.
That is why whenever they bring the argument that Nigeria is selling cheaper than Saudi Arabia, first question, how many people are in Saudi Arabia? What is the ratio? How much is their minimum wage? The UK that you're comparing, what is the minimum wage in UK? So an average cleaner here earns more than a bank manager in Nigeria. An average laborer here earns more than a petrol manager in fleet station manager in Nigeria. So at the end of the day, you cannot compare even at UK's poorest or worst case scenario. They're still better off than Nigeria. So Nigeria still boasts of the highest number of poverty, people living below poverty line. So now, this thing will have a worse effect. Say, for example, Dangote comes on stream. Dangote is only getting 300,000 barrels. By the time he services Lagos and Abuja, I'm sure there will be nothing left for the other 34 states. So we still have a problem. What is the, let's put it this way, Tolu. What is the answer to this issue? Go first.
The answer to this issue for me, very simple. I'm really upset, honestly. I've never been this angry in my life. I'm very upset because this is a secondary school mistake. It's a cheap mistake from the government. Now, the way forward, or the way, what we can do going forward is twofold. The first thing they have to do is to increase the worker's salary ASAP. Minimum wage move to 100,000 straight up to match up the current inflationary ratio. So if you give level 7 or level 6 officer 100K per month, okay, that will match the current inflation ratio in Nigeria, right? Secondly, is that the government should come out and make another pronouncement that they will not remove subsidy at the moment, pending the time they make proper consultation and put adequate shocking measures in place so that they can balance the market. The market is currently panicking. Everybody is panicking right now. And you know, corruption in Nigeria is...
You've just, sorry to interject, you just hit the nail on the head. The simple answer to Nigeria's current situation is that from the military to all the NNPC workers to everybody that have to do with Nigerian oil, they have to remove corruption. Even if you say for 1 month, everybody should stay away from corruption. This is a new government. Everybody will be scared of you. Say, boom, that anybody found corrupt will be taken out. Your body language says it all. If corruption leaves Nigeria for 1 month, things will change for the better. And the life of the masses will be better. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
No. Let's put this in perspective.
And also, the money you're telling them to increase, they will not increase it. So let's be realistic as well.
No.
The minimum wage you're telling them to increase, they won't increase it. So the bottom line here is, if we want to be actually...
I want to correct an impression. No. I want to correct an impression. Corruption cannot leave any society.
No, reduce it. I mean, when I went to Oxford, I met Peter Obi, was giving his speech. Peter Obi said, there is corruption everywhere. It is the quantity, it is the volume that is the problem. Nigeria seems to be submerged. It's like the percentage of corrupt people and the honest people is way, it's like 95%. But here, you find that of course, you know the system here not to rate rubbish. Do you understand? So you find very small percentage of corrupt people in the police, in everything, in everywhere, even in your workplace. You know, before you know anything, they don't go talk for your back. Before you know it, or they don't know what it is up. But Nigeria, they go cover something very and nobody go know. That is the problem. Because of that divide that we're not one. So there's always this, you know, because there's no patriotism. So first of all, it's a very complex situation. But to save the issue, first thing I would advise, corruption. And because that is not going to be an immediate stop, but you can start it. Because you're a new government, you can give the impression that Buhari used to give, a war against indiscipline. You can give an impression that Peter Obi has been given. If it's my turn, if I'm the president, nobody will do this because me, myself, I'm not going to be corrupt. If what Rebi Tinubu says is true, that he's rich, his family is rich, and they're not after some Nigerian government money, they shouldn't steal from the government. And then send a clear message down the spine, especially because Tompola have said it, a lot of people have said it openly, that the people stealing this oil, the oil theft, is people in power. Governments have to look within. Stop support these people that are rooting from the poor masses, because that's what it is. Once you take out corruption, then the second thing you have to do is to allow subsidy for now. At least let Dangote come on stream. And then instruct Dangote, even if you give Dangote free, refine this thing for now. That is what you call palliative. There is no point you giving 800 million to one useless agency to come and share, and they are taking a percentage of that money to their pocket as consultancy. The biggest corruption in Nigeria is consultancy fee. And those useless consultants are always their people. Put this whole money back into the system. Give Dangote this oil for free. Dangote, run these 300,000 barrels for 2 months. Give it out to NNPC. NNPC, tell these things in your petrol station at 100 naira per pump price. Let the people breathe a little bit.
I have one more advice. Make Dangote the richest man in Africa, the 5th richest man in the world, by selling the 4 refineries left in Nigeria. Give it to him on contract basis.
No. Even Dangote said he doesn't want it, and I don't. No. So this is it. Dangote is a public listed company. Hold on. Even when MPC went to, even when MPC was made a limited company, I had a problem with that. If governments have to go into public-private partnership, there must be a very clear-cut agreement, and there should be an SLA. Production level to.
Let me explain. Let me explain something quickly. The Petroleum Act of 1979 has made it clear. Every single transaction between the government and the private individuals regarding petrol, exploration, mining, and production is 60-40.
No. I'm not even. Of course, you see, Tolu, why you talk like this? Whenever you are discussing Nigeria, the law is there. What is obtainable is also there. I think the whole conversation we've been having, that is the basis. If that's not the basis, then we'll be fooling ourselves. We know that Nigeria does not operate on what it. You see, it's like we all know that there is not going to be any judiciary performance. And on the D-Day, what happened? The judges went on conference. This is typical Nigeria. We're talking about Nigeria here. So
of course.
Let's face it. If we are very true to ourselves, we know that Dangote is a private enterprise that people have shares in. And the people that have those shares are not after the interests of the people, but rather their families, themselves. It's like the oligarchies in Russia. You see, every government have all these multinationals that give them money for campaign and in turn get money. And that's how they operate everywhere in the world. Nigeria is not an exception. I'd rather somebody else own one, another person own Warri, another person own Port Harcourt, another person own Kaduna, another person. Do you understand?
Oh, okay.
Monopoly
to avoid
and excessive power on one person. So yes, Dangote said Tinubu gave him free trade zone. Declare free trade zone. In fact, it's even government land anyway. It doesn't need to be declared free trade zone. If you want to sell it to individuals, going by what Otodawa said that governments cannot do businesses. I don't think government cannot. It's just that we are so corrupt in our DNA. So let's just say we are listening to businesses. But again, we've privatized some things in Nigeria. Does privatizing our electricity from NEPA to EEDC, has it helped? Power holding? Exactly.
No.
Giving Dangote the sole production of cement, has it helped cement prices? No. So again, if government does not play the function of oversight that the Senate is supposed to be doing, now, the Senate will invite people like Attorney General, they will not come because there's no rule of law. If police go to arrest, another police will fight them. You know how Nigeria is.
Yeah.
Army fighting police. DSS went and occupied EFCC, and in that space of 24 hours, you know how many files have been removed? You don't know. The same president come and declare, but who sent them in the first time? We all know these things. How can they just come to EFCC office and take control, saying it's their office? And now Tinubu will tell them to leave when after operating for how long in that vicinity. So we know these things. So the problem here is that there's so much corruption, and that's why it pains me that P2B is not sitting on that seat, because we thought 29th of May would have been our victory day, our deliverance day, our redemption day, our freedom day. Things will start moving in the right direction. Because don't forget, if this was P2B, people would not have a problem. Do you know why people will not have a problem? They will know that the man is a no-nonsense man. That's why I said, if Tinubu has copied P2B's manifesto that he was going to remove subsidy, mind you, P2B said he was going to remove over 50% and produce counterbalance policies to make sure that the cushion is effect. Now, if Tinubu have borrowed that, then Tinubu should also make a P2B stance and make sure corruption is out of the system. Because only that way, if the money is being taken away from the people, let's know where generally, because the thing is that people are busy stealing billions, trillions, and you're giving this news to the poor masses, yet you're making them to suffer more and more and more and more. It's evil.
Should I be honest with you? Peter Obi, if Peter Obi was sitting down on that seat tonight, the only difference that I think will happen is the way they will declare subsidy. Peter Obi will not declare.
He won't even mention it until he put the policy in place.
But Peter Obi will.
Of course, I said it. Every president will struggle.
It will struggle special. No. It will struggle specially.
Yes,
struggle will be special.
He's going down the route of no corruption. Yeah.
Because it will be going against the tide. It will be okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Against the tide.
But government is government.
It will be so difficult for him.
Government is government. Government is what I mean. What I mean, government is government. Let me tell you something there. Alex Oti of Abia State, you know what he said? He said no collection of any tax levy or anything from transport workers. Soludo tried it. It backfired. He allowed those people to come back because those people are the people. I want to see how he plays that in Aba. So at the end of the day, you can swim against the tide if you are government, but there's going to be a lot of willingness. And your people have to work with you. Your team have to be credibly strong. But government is government.
And your people, this is where I have problem with it. See, even Tinubu, see, Obi will struggle, but let's forget Obi for now. Tinubu cannot do anything special in Nigeria. We that were outside, we have seen it all. Let me take it from the issue of economy. Tell me what you think Tinubu can do.
The only thing Tinubu can do is release him and the Ghana, so Igbos will start trading on Mondays. That will help things, but that will not help things so much because the main biggest problem is this oil issue. But if he stops the oil theft, which don't forget, let me land. Don't forget, what we are changing every 4 years or every 8 years is the presidency. The real hierarchy of the military and the navy are still intact.
No, it's there. See, I wanted Obi to be. See, even if Obi was president tonight, Obi, one single policy that Obi said that won my heart is to cut the cost of governance.
Somebody said he spent billions to change his furniture, but he's saying there's no money to help. There's no point in all those furniture. Why are you changing furniture every 4 years?
There's no reason.
Billions of naira.
There's no reason for us to have minister. There's no reason for us to have minister, DG, and minister of state.
Is it not what Festus Keyamo was saying after he has enjoyed it for 7 years? Remy, his wife, went with her own ADC to the meeting with Emefiele. You see, we know all this excessive spending is there Have you seen the convoy of Buhari? Over 60 cars. Over 60. One guy was recording it. He was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 60 over before his video ended. So we're in big mess in Nigeria.
Has Boeing 477, Bomber 747, and Embraer, and what other? 6 presidential jets. 6.
And other countries fly with just one Air Force, only 1.
6. It's in Abuja. 6. And Nigeria has no national carrier. And
he said he was going to convert them to our national carrier. And he got into power. All he did was he reduced it from 12 to that number, and then the rest is history.
One week to
see, let me tell you, the largesse that these people live on. If you come close to the Nigerian political class, the largesse. I mean, I've been to Asa Rock. I don't know if you know. The road, the third road there, is as if you mop it. You see the Range Rovers there. The largesse. I mean, if you come there, the air that will breathe in that Asa Villa, you will know these guys are in heaven. Nigeria, the sweets. You travel a lot. You fly everywhere. So you know what I'm talking about. See, these guys don't know the pain that people feel. To Buhari, he's the best president. To him, he achieved a lot. Even a national, he's talking rubbish. These guys don't know what you're talking about.
Because
they are so disconnected. The people. Everywhere they are going, there is availability of everything. Excess. Wastage. Mr. President, Your Excellency, Honorable, they don't have time to feel your pain. They don't watch news. All they're doing is having meetings and chilling and enjoying and having fun.
They don't have, and now, what do they, so this is the question. Going forward, like we said, let's just recap quickly. Mr. President should not.
Yes, he has to withdraw it. This is not the right time.
Now.
Wait for Dangote to come up on stream. First thing, NNPC said he's going to give him 300,000. Give it to him at minimum. This is our own. We are fighting for our country now. Give it to him at minimum and let him know that the reason you are giving it to him at minimum is because you want him to give it to the people also at minimum, so that it will alleviate the poverty in the land. Because Nigeria, if fuel price goes up, bread price goes up, everything goes up. So when things reduces and people start releasing them, they can let the Igbos be doing businesses on Monday. That will open up the economy more. As you are doing that, make sure there is no corruption in your government to start with. Because any more corruption, anything else you are doing, you are wasting your time. As all of these 3 things are coming on course, be reducing subsidy, small, reducing subsidy, small, reducing subsidy, small, and let it go away. And then you can announce it after implementation. Because Buhari removed it, allowed it to come back, and remove it again when we don't know, and then allow it to come back again. So people are saying, I thought it was removed, because nobody clearly knows what they're doing. That's why when they call the Minister of Finance, that woman, she will be talking A, NNPC will be talking B, Central Bank will be talking C. None of them are in sync. If NNPC said they've remitted so amount of money to Ministry of Finance, they will say they didn't see the money. Central Bank will say this is how much we saw. So Senate themselves will be confused. Okay, where is the money? So we're in a situation whereby, and this is why I come to say to me, okay, let me start talking about these things openly. Because either these guys don't really know what to do, or they know what to do, but they can't do it because their hands are tied, or they are corrupt, or they generally wish well, but there are so many forces in their system that is not allowing this to work. It even got to a point, Buhari made a single federation account. That was the time I thought Buhari wanted to get it right. I honestly thought that when he did that, Buhari wanted to get it right. Do you know, with that single federation account, still and still, because the thing with criminals is that it's like all this election now. We are busy doing voters, what do you call it, sensitization, discussing about election. We didn't see that there's somebody called Yakubu who has all the power. Do you understand? So that is it. So criminals will look for the best way, no matter how you make the system tight. They will be finding ways to, where there is a loophole to sort of do what they want to do. But there should be that willingness to stop corruption, because if corruption is still happening in Nigeria, there is no way you can achieve anything as an administration. And that corruption has to start from you and your family. Buhari's daughter was in government, son, in-laws, everything. So his own nepotism was worse. People look at him as a figurehead that is clean. Mr. President is not, but his family, in-law, everybody is involved.
See,
of course, because already his wife is sitting with NDC. You know what they tell you. The next thing people will collect. MC Olomo, somebody said to me, MC Olomo is going for the Minister of Transportation. I'm waiting for his cabinet. Oh my God.
See, yeah, this is what I think will happen. I think my final thought is that Nigeria is on the path.
The money for the June, somebody, Victor said the money for June, 7 trillion divided by 12, the money for June, because it's meant to go out, subsidy is meant to stop at the June 30th. So the money for June, what is going to happen? Simple answer. They are going to use it to recover from how much they spend in the election. That money is not what they should be interested in. But for what is worth, if they want to really help Nigerians, which I don't think that is their interest. And this is why conversations have been coming up now, and I'm going to discuss it in one of my lives. National interest. What is Nigeria's national interest? Do we even have a national interest? You see, when you see Americans, they don't talk about where they are from in America. They talk about the Americans' interest. They talk about America first. You talk about British people, they talk about Britain first, Great Britain first. Do you understand? Nigeria, we talk about ethnicity and religion. What is our national interest? Corruption. Nothing else unites us. So unless we are able to change that national interest and make it something that is more to us, pertaining to us, that will drive every Nigerian. I remember back in the day in Onitsha, they used to announce every Saturday, clean up. They were announcing that say, make Anambra clean. So people felt like they are part of Anambra. It's like in the UK. You are a UK citizen. Before you did your British passport, they will ask you that you owe it to the country 2 things: maintain peace and order, and of course respect other people, and also garden yourself, like gardening your grass, cut your environment. And that's why you see everybody, they make sure everywhere looks neat, and they look after the place and they respect others. So what is our national interest in Nigeria? What is it that everybody is singing as a song? Listen to our anthem, very beautiful anthem. But you can't sing that anthem with pride now, because everybody has thrown that away. That's what Peter B said before, in every function, before TV will come up, you used to sing the national anthem. People used to remind themselves what they owe to their nation. It's like when you read the British anthem, it reminds you who you are. So we've lost that national interest. We are so divided. There's biases, and without that justice, there can be no unity and fostering together or progressing. So there's a lot of work to be done. And without us doing this thing, we just have to keep seeing these issues as they arise.
My honest thought is this. My long-term position is that Nigeria will be divided at the end of the day. So that's my long-term position. Okay, and I stand by that position. Nigeria, as we have it today, and I think I've told you this before, it's not sustainable. We will have to divide it with time. So in the meantime, let's keep deceiving ourselves to say that Nigeria is one nation. Okay, let's stand on the mantra of one nation. How do we move forward from where we are today? The first thing we have to do today, one, withdraw that nonsense announcement of subsidy. Two, increase the worker salary. If you don't increase it, there will be problem. People who don't have the money, there will be no money in circulation. And then you will put the lives of ordinary people on the streets even much, much more in jeopardy. So increase it. Now, you told me just now that they will not increase it. Oh, well, if they don't increase it,
they will not increase it. Let me tell you why they went for Emefiele's neck. That meeting you saw with Tinubu and his wife with their ADCs behind their back is no joke. It's no joke, because if you remember, before the election, they proposed that Tinubu had a lot of cash, right? So what they did was what Emefiele did was to make the naira scarce to avoid voters' inducement. That's why immediately he became president, he went straight to central bank to go and say Emefiele, and Oga must have told them that he was only following orders. But jokes apart,
yes, no.
I've said it before when me and you discussed. Nigeria has 3 tiers of solution I propose. Ultimately, we have to divide. Ultimately, the second tier of solution is go into regional government that we used to, right? And the immediate third tier of solution will be to devolve power. Devolve power. If we must remain as states, because putting everybody back together as region is going to be hard, because you're going to turn the whole 5 states of Igbo land to one region. It's going to be difficult. So now, what you can do is devolve power from the center, right? And empower the states to do things, which I think Buhari has started small. Then we have to continue that by allowing state police, which is one of the manifestos of Tinubu. But as that is going on, the most important thing, which will affect us even if we divide or not, is corruption. The people that are supposed to help fight this corruption, now fight this corruption all over the world, is the police. Our police is rubbish. Our own police are more corrupt. Our military are corrupt. Maybe less corrupt. Our federal road safety that are supposed to be even lesser corrupt are still corrupt now. Before, you don't used to bribe road safety, but now you can bribe them. If you come down and go to the booth, everybody understand how you do those works. So at the end of the day, a lot of work needs to be done, but all these things boil down to transparency, patriotism, and people cannot be patriotic if they know you're not fighting corruption. If everybody know that everybody is stealing, they will continue stealing. And that's how everybody will leave their responsibility to the next person. So at the end of the day, I hope and wish things get better, because at the end of the day, no matter whoever is in power, people don't really care. Honest to God, people don't even watch TVs. All people care about is their feeding, their shelter, and their clothing. Before we talk about going to school and everything. So right now, it is very, very difficult to be in Nigeria, to live in Nigeria. And that's why I have the Japa syndrome. So if we can tackle these things, tackle corruption, release Nnamdi Kanu, remove, re-announce that subsidy is extended for now, and work on the corruption. The problem is people in power. That's the problem, people in government. Work on that corrupt people in power. Deal with the military and the navy, and now you're selecting people. Select the best people. The people who are not corrupt, so that things in Nigeria will be better. When we do that, we'll start seeing things moving in the right direction. Hope will be restored to the common one, and maybe, just maybe, things will turn for the good. So I'm going to leave you here. I know you've got a lot to do tonight. So thank you so much. It's been 2 hours, and I really appreciate your input every time we hang out together here. So thank you so much. And any closing thoughts? Is there any other thing you want to say as we wind up?
I just want to say that it's a shame that we are having this kind of issues in Nigeria, and the only way we can actually move forward as a country, as it stands, is for everybody to shun corruption, embrace unity, embrace transparency, embrace respect for each other, mutual respect. But most importantly, we should make sure that we don't engage in a kind of backstabbing, because I realize that Nigerians are very, they smile at you right now, but at the end of the day, behind you, they can backstab you, and that's also a form of corruption, because even in diaspora, the same thing happens in diaspora, back at home in diaspora. So we should try and make sure that we eschew corruption, eschew backstabbing, embrace harmony, love, and unity, and mutual and collective respect for race, culture, tribes, and religion. And with that, we should be able to move forward as a nation. Finally, for those that want to travel out of Nigeria, of course, it's a shame that the country is what it is right now. But please make your findings very well. Be sure that you know where you are going to before you start applying for travel, and then make sure you're very confident that where you are going to, at least to an extent, you will find refuge instead of you becoming more a burden to the system they are going to be getting into from Nigeria. So people traveling on this platform, please be aware, do your research, be careful, not just pray, but open your eyes and be sure that where you're going to, you have a very good, a very soft landing. And of course, I wish everybody all the best. But for Nigeria as a nation, it's time for us to come together, become one, and work in harmony, respect each other, and then we can move forward.
All right, thank you so much for that, Tolu. I really appreciate your time, like I said before, as we hope that our dear nation will get, where we really want it to be. We are also planning individually in our own personal capacities what's best for our families. So if you can jabba. Victor, I can see you say you don't have the means. Yeah, of course, if you don't have the means, it becomes a problem. But as soon as you have the means and you figure out where you can go to, before it is too late. Because the problem is, once a Nigerian steps foot outside Nigeria, you have hope. Your life will just automatically get fixed. But as soon as you're in that country, unless you're from a rich home, it will be as if you don't know what you are doing as an adult. And I know your story, so it's quite painful. I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, everybody wants to run away, and we can understand that. Let's keep watching and see if the magic can be done by the genius himself. That's what Jibola made Tinubu. But I know from the first day he's already failed on arrival, and we're hoping that Peter Obi will get his mandate back and help us to fix Nigeria quickly. Thank you so much, everybody, and good night. Bye-bye. Bye, Tolu.
Thank you.